what's up, everybody? Sorry, I got caught in a little bit of Miami traffic. If you guys, anyone in the chat is from Miami, I know some of you are, you know what I'm talking about. Our boy Jazz will be joining us here in a few minutes. I know he had to battle that as well. So let's talk some Canes. I'll just say, man, you logged at 6:16. Mitch hopped on. Well, thank you for being on as always. And thank you for, all the rest of you guys in the chat. All right, our guest is backstage. Let's go ahead and bring him in. What is up, my friend?
Hey, what's going on, man?
Not much, bro. I like the hat and shirt combo.
Yeah.
Very nice.
I actually just got this hat. I've been eyeing the hat for a while, and I keep passing by, and I'm like, I'm gonna get it. And I finally pulled the trigger. I was like, all right, enough is enough. Every time I go out, anytime I go out anywhere with, if I take my girlfriend anywhere, I tell her I gotta stop and look at this hat. And she's like, more stuff. I'm like, what do you mean more? You can never get enough of this stuff. So I'm just gonna keep going, and my whole entire wardrobe is I'm gonna wear a tuxedo, an orange and green tuxedo eventually. It's unbelievable how much crap I have already.
Bro, well, the stuff from the season before is out of style, so you got to refresh every season.
Correct. This is correct.
Yeah. So tomorrow's the spring game. Lots to talk about. Over the last couple weeks of spring practice, I think a lot has changed when it comes to certain position groups. At least the impression of certain position groups between what we think now, what we thought just a few weeks ago. First off, a big point of contention last season, if you remember, I remember it clearly like it was the other day, that the wide receivers, right? Nobody was really separating themselves. X was really making all the plays. There was a lot of drops, and, they had a long ways to go. That was what I remember last spring. This spring, all of a sudden, you got Jacoby George improving. He's emerging as a consistent guy. You got Ray making play after play, bursting onto the scene as a true freshman. You got Kobe Young looking solid, Isaiah Horton looking solid. All of a sudden, I'm not as worried about the wide receivers as I was a few weeks ago. What's your impression so far?
Well, you get. I mean, look, this is a perfect offense for these receivers to kind of flourish and to develop and show out. Right, they're going to get the ball a lot, and they're going to be able to be in space. And I think this is a great to me. And I said this on my show on Monday, and yesterday when I was on with Blue. I said, to me, the biggest addition to that room is Kevin Beard. I just feel like him coming in and teaching these guys, developing these guys on top of what Shannon Dawson is doing with that offense. I think you're going to see a big improvement on a lot of these players. Look at what Dawson did with Tank Dell last year, right? And I keep kind of harping on that because he's going to, and Tank Dell's a very good receiver in his own right. But look what he can do and kind of raise the level of productivity, raise the level of performance from a guy like that. I mean, a small guy, 5'9", right? 5'9", $180. I don't know. I don't think he's such a big guy. But now you've got some players here. You've got Jacoby, who's personally has been my favorite guy for a couple of years now. I'm glad that he's healthy and he's staying out of trouble per se. But look, at the end of the day, man, it's spring football, so yeah, you're gonna see them kind of go out there and catch a couple balls and stuff. But you want to see it in the games. It's game time. When it's game time, that's when you want to see them kind of show out. So I'm excited to see what they're going to do. Frank Lanson's another one's coming off of injury, I believe, and I don't think he's going to play tomorrow. But he's another guy that could be productive in this offense. Michael Redding is another guy that we don't talk about, and the two freshmen, Robbie Washington and Ray have an opportunity. Brashard Smith, I didn't even mention him. Right, he said this is the best coach he's ever gotten in his whole life. So. A lot of expectations, a lot of excitement, but it's also a little bit it's tempered a little bit because I want to see, them put it together. But yeah, I mean, I'm not as worried as I am about other positions. Definitely.
No, for sure. I definitely feel a lot better about that room. You met Brashard and Robbie Washington. I forgot about those two. Anytime I go through the receivers, I always miss one or two guys that could be legit playmaker threats this year. So happy about that. I'm happy with the progress they've made so far under Kevin Beard. I'm not surprised by it at all. He's one of the better receiver coaches in the entire country. Glad he's back home. And then we recently, as far as the portal goes, we recently hosted Jaquay Jackson, the kid from that D2 school, who's I looked at, I did kind of a deep dive on his tape this morning. That kid, 6'3", runs a legit 4.4. I like him a lot. So we'll still probably add somebody in the portal, most likely, even with the progress we've made. And then, of course, the crystal ball news. I think it was yesterday or the day before that Chance Robinson got a crystal ball to Miami. Man, how huge would it be if we show improvement, offense scores a little bit, we win more games, we show improvement on the field, and we land JoJo and Chance Robinson?
Yeah, that's
like,
yeah, that's big time. That's big time. But that's what we need. We haven't had those big time receivers like that, right? The big names in a few years. So that would be nice.
Yes, absolutely. So with the spring game coming up, obviously we talk about the wide receivers. What you alluded to, maybe you're not as concerned about the receivers anymore as you are about maybe other positions. What other positions right now have you concerned a little bit?
For me, the biggest one that I'm going to keep an eye on, and I'll be there. I don't know. Are you going to be there, John?
I'm going to be there tomorrow.
All right. We'll link up for sure. Yeah, I'll definitely be there.
Sounds good.
For me, man, it's a combination of a couple things, but for sure it's that defensive tackle position. I know we've got some guys that have just transferred over, Branson Dean, Thomas Gore, Tommy Gore, and then you've got the usual suspects in LT and Jared Harrison Hunt, and Ahmad Bolton is a guy that could burst on the scene, and we all are kind of high on his talent level. And then you've got some of the other guys that that could potentially come in and do something like Josh Horton. Eventually, he'll be here, so that's exciting. Plus, you got another guy like Collins at Chiampong, who's probably going to move inside with how big he is. I mean, he's a legit 6'7", 6'8", and he's 290 now. I mean, give him 10, 15 more pounds than that, at that size on the inside, Jesus. But the truth is that, they're young, right? Those guys are not ready to play just yet, if you ask me. And we're a little bit thin at that position right now in the spring. So I'm kind of looking at, and I know Flo talked about this also, and he brought up a great point. I mean, for me, it's Thomas Gore, right? It's the play of him. I want to see him play because everybody's talking about how undersized he is. Came from a school like Georgia Southern, and oh my gosh, who is he? This kid's, he's shorter than the running backs. Whatever, just talking trash about the kid. And look, he was productive at Georgia Southern. He was on a team that beat the Florida Gators a couple years ago, right? So I mean, we know that there's a level of talent there, and he is undersized, but I tend to trust the evaluation of our staff a little bit. And what they've done and who they've brought in. So I'm more focused on that position because I don't know what I'm going to get yet from some of the other guys. You know what you're going to get for the most part from a guy like LT. You want to see Jared Harrison Hunt step up his game. You want to see Ahmad Moulton come out and play well, and progress and develop. But you don't know really what you're going to get out of Dean and Gore and some of these other guys too. So it's going to be tricky. It's going to be interesting to see how they play. And again, I know I'm ranting a little bit, but again, I know that you're not going to see a lot in the spring game, right? It's going to be quote unquote vanilla, but you're still going to see a new defense out there. And you want to see how they all kind of work together, if they're on the same page, if they're lining up correctly, so on and so forth. So that's where I'm looking at the most, really.
No, I agree with you. It's between D tackle and corner for me.
Yeah.
I think safety, we're pretty set. We're probably going to go portal to add some depth at safety. And I like who we're looking at in the 2024 class at safety. There's a couple of guys that are trending our way that are very talented. Corner, I know Damari Brown. I wish Damari Brown would have come in early. That would have been fantastic. But we'll see what happens. Guys got to get developed. Unfortunately, we gotta squeeze every bit of talent we can out of guys like Devontae Brown, Terry Roberts, and see what we get there. But I do trust that you said the evaluation process of this staff, and also Alonzo Highsmith and his input. I trust their evaluation process, because look at how the newcomers have performed so far in the spring. Bobby Washington, a 3-star recruit most of the recruiting cycle. Look how well he's performed. Ray Joseph, he right away, to me, does not look, what I've seen, does not look like a true freshman. And Francis Mauigoa getting starting reps. It's just they've hit on a lot of their guys, is what I'm saying, whether they're a 3-star or a 5-star. So.
And that's why I'm not too concerned about the linebacker position either, because they've hit there too with what do they call him? Kiko Mauigoa.
Kiko Mauigoa, yeah,
his brother, and then
another guy they've hit on.
Yeah, that's a big one. Him, Wes, and then now you're building a little bit of depth, because now Corey Flagg, who was your leading tackler last year, is a solid number 2 now, right? A solid backup guy, and he could get starter. He could get starter minutes, right? He could get starter snaps. So. And then Keontre, right? K4 is still here, and you'll have some of the young guys that'll come in and possibly contribute. So Chase, and of course Chase, we talk about Chase all the time, but I agree with you on the cornerback position. It's gonna be tricky there, man. They need to develop, and they need to develop quick, and I can't wait for Damari Brown to get here.
Yeah, he can't get here soon enough, for sure. And Robert Stafford, another guy.
Yes, Robert Stafford as well, correct.
Yeah. So, but speaking of incoming freshmen, some people are worried a little bit about the lack of commits. I think we've gone through this like the last 2 or 3 years already. It's kind of been like a slow developing thing, and then right around the summer, we hit the ground running. What's your take on all this? Because I don't think we've had a chance to talk about it. We got a quarterback commit finally, who I'd love to hear your thoughts on him. Cristobal Chance Robinson. I think Dylan Williams is another one trending towards us. So it looks like momentum's starting to pick up. How do you feel about
it? Yeah, it's tricky. Excuse me. Sorry about that.
You're good.
It's tricky because you thought that maybe, once they hit on that quarterback, right? Whether it was Aaron Nolan or it was Judd Anderson, it was someone that the pieces would start to fall. And of course, he just committed this past weekend, right? Or this past week. So it's still fresh. So I think you might see some movement coming up soon. I would have liked to have seen a couple more guys, but I don't know what the hell they're doing. So I'm gonna leave the recruiting up to those guys. But I think that this cycle is going to be important to get some of those positions that we really are lacking in, right? And like the defensive tackle position, the cornerback position, still the offensive line, building depth there. And they've got some really, really good prospects at all those positions that they're looking at, right? And even at some of the skill positions, you've got Jared Gibson, who's now really taking a close look at us. Even though he's probably Cristobal to Texas, but that's another big guy. The 2 wide receivers that we mentioned already, and you've got a couple other wide receivers, the Wayne McCoy and some of these other, studs out there. So you've got the skill position I'm not too worried about, especially with this offense. I'm more worried about what we're going to do on the defensive side of the ball, who we're looking at there. And you've got, I know David Stone has been down here a couple times, and you've got, some of these linebackers that have been down here, and then like you mentioned, who's this big safety that they're recruiting, that I think he just transferred down to IMG from Alabama or something like that.
Is it Zaquan Patterson?
Well, Zaquan Patterson's down he plays down south, right? Down here for Central or something like that.
Yeah.
There's another kid that just transferred from Alabama. He's a really good. See, anyways, I think we're fine. We're in a good position, I think, to start landing some guys. I wouldn't be too concerned. Number one, can't control it anyway, so why am I going to be concerned about it? And number two, at the end of the day, we've seen what Mario's done. Okay, in his first full season, going 5-7, he had the number 5 ranked recruiting class in the country. Not too concerned about it. I think that he'll put the pieces together. He'll get the right guys in here. We'll be fine.
No, I agree. Mr. Anderson, Chase's recovery time, as far as I know, he should be ready by fall camp. That's what I've been hearing.
Yeah.
or he will hopefully be ready by fall camp. The other day I was thinking about, because typically this defense is going to play with 2 linebackers on the field at once. So I was thinking about a 4-man rotation of, you got Chase Smith, Corey Flagg, Bobby Washington, and Kiko Maligoa. That's a nice little 4-man rotation. Like, all of a sudden, linebacker, I'm not too concerned either. Like,
And you didn't even talk about Wesley Bassane.
and Wesley. Oh, you know what? Yeah.
He's probably going to start with Kiko, right?
Yeah, no, I'm sorry. I got that wrong. Kiko, Wes, Corey, and Bobby Washington is who I was thinking. And if Chase Smith is healthy, then that's a 5th guy.
Right.
That's what it was. Okay. Yeah, no, that gets me very excited. I mean, and you have enough numbers that you can go 3 linebackers in some packages. I'm curious to see. I don't know if the spring game is going to reveal a whole lot, but I'm curious to see what Coach Guidry does as far as lineups and things like that. I mean, I guess which side of the ball are you more excited to see this upcoming season? Is it the offense or the defense?
This upcoming season, I mean, I'm more excited to see the offense, right? Because you want to see that high flying offense. But I'm more interested in seeing what the defense does, because for me, the offense, I know this is crazy and stupid of me to say now, but I think the offense is going to score points. I think they're going to be fine. I don't think 19 points a game is. They're going to score in the high 20s, low 30s, if you ask me. Right? That's what I think they're going to average. It's a defense, man. It's a defense. It's that front 7 or front 6, 5, whatever whatever you want to call it. However, Gidry's going to play, whether he plays a 4-2-5, 4-3, however he does it, right? That's going to be the interesting part to me, because, to be quite honest with you, man, we gave up over 40 points, 4 or 5 times last year, and that's unacceptable, right? And I don't care if you're scoring 20 points or if you're giving up 40 points a game, in 4 or 5 games, then chances are, even if your team scores 25, 30, 35 points, you're not going to win the game, right? So it's less opportunities for the offense to be on the field. If maybe you're getting just trampled on defense. So I think that for me, it's the defense, man. The defense has to step up and play a little bit better, and I think that we'll be all right. We'll do good. We'll have a good season.
Yeah. Obviously, when we were dominating, we always had great offenses. I don't really remember us ever scoring like 50, 60 points a game. We were never one of those offenses, but our defense could stop anybody. I mean, any high-scoring, high-powered offense, put them up against us, and they'd score like 7 points. We'd hold them to like 120 yards of offense. It would be crazy. So, yeah, that's going to set the tone. And, I think that first game against Miami of Ohio is a nice first game. Like, not to insult Miami of Ohio, but it's kind of a tune-up. We should stomp them, honestly.
Yeah.
And, to get ready for a big matchup against Texas A&M, which I think is a very winnable game, in my opinion.
But we should have stopped Middle Tennessee State too. All right, John?
We should. No, we should have. We should have, but I like to believe a lot of the problems in the locker room and between the coaches has been mostly eradicated. I don't think that happens in 1 year, but I think we've made a lot of progress there. I think we're more on the same page now.
Sure. I agree.
Entire starting lineup will look different come fall. Imagine Zion and McCoy starting healthy. Yeah. No. I'm really impressed to see, just in 1 year, the increase in size of this team. Like, I think that is going to go a long way. What's the name of what? Oh, that's the name of the game. Stop their offense. Yep. So another guy I wanted to highlight, that's he's really impressed already as a freshman in his first spring. I thought it was maybe going to take him a little bit of time because he's undersized. Ruben Bain. Ruben Bain has basically been living in the backfield. He's been an absolute terror. I could see him making an impact this year. Maybe not starting, but then again, you never know. It's a thin defensive line. Where, how do you see his freshman season playing out? Do you think he starts getting used a lot, like right away?
I think that Jafari Harvey and not maybe not Mesidor, but whoever plays opposite of Mesidor better watch their back because Ruben Bain is coming for that. He's right. We've talked about it. He's unstoppable right now. I don't think anybody's been able to block him or cover him. So why the hell would you not play that guy? I don't care how young he is, right? Like let him go out there and let him. If he's going to dominate, again, bright lights, things may change. You're playing
Sure.
against different guys. You're right now you're practicing against your own team, and sometimes that happens. You get the best out of your own guys. You know their tendencies. You understand what they're doing on a daily basis. If you can do the same thing against other opponents, then it's going to be hard to keep him off the field, right? And we spoke about this all last year too. I said, we said once that guy gets on the field, it's going to be hard to get him off the field. So same thing with Wes. Last year, you saw it towards the end of the season. So I think that he's going to be exciting. He's going to add some energy to that defense as well, and yeah, it could be fun to watch him play. It could be real fun, and I think he's going to play a lot. I really do.
Hmm. No, I agree. It's going to be tough to get him off the field, even at 6'2", 6'2.5", whatever he is. He could play outside, inside. He's already up to 270. Doesn't Again, physically does not look like a freshman. He already has that lower half that he has that motor. He's going to be a terror for any lineman trying to block him. And they've used certain adjectives to describe him, like unblockable, etc. Same words they used to describe Greg Rousseau his first season,
Yep.
and that came to fruition. So
I know this is crazy, but it doesn't. It's not coming from my mouth. Okay, this is coming from Larry Bluestein's mouth, and so his word is, is
his
gold,
gospel, I
right?
believe it.
Yeah, that's the gospel right there. And he's like, Ruben Bain reminds me of a young Warren Sapp, and I was like, whoa, okay. He's like Warren Sapp. They had to take him off the field and sit him down at practice because if not, the offense wouldn't get anything done. But that's how good Sapp was. And I'm like, and he's like, and I saw him play, and he reminds me of a young Warren Sapp. So that's high praise for a guy like Ruben Baines. So for anybody, period. But uh,
Anybody,
that's the type of stuff that you're hearing from him.
dude. And you know what? Similar body type. When Warren Sapp came in, he was a bit undersized. He was like
Yep.
in that 6'2"
It
range,
was a
I
tight
think.
end. He was a tight end coming
He was a
coming in.
tight end. He had to beef up a little bit. So as a freshman in college, yeah, he was probably about Ruben Bain's size.
Yep. That's awesome.
Let's see. Hustle harder. I have not heard much about Jaden Harris. Will Balaam transfer or still transfer? That's actually a great question about Balaam. I'm not sure what's the latest there. I know Balaam has been practicing. Jaden Harris, I've heard pretty good things. I heard he's been putting in the work and he's been making plays here and there in practice. So good things with Jaden Harris. Balaam, I'm not
Maybe
100%
after
sure.
a spring game, I guess if they don't give him snaps in the spring game, I mean, who knows, right? Who knows?
Yeah. No. There's going to be, I don't know
There's
about a
gonna there's gonna
mass.
be some movement though.
There's going to be some movement. I don't know about like a mass exodus or anything like that, but you could see a couple, maybe 4 or 5 guys over the next few weeks after spring depart and enter the portal.
Yeah.
Because I think the window officially opens the day after the spring game on the 15th.
Gotcha.
So we'll see what happens there. Pimp down, what's going on, sir? So yeah, you know, it's tough to not get excited for the spring game because it's the first football you've seen in a few months, and it's new beginnings, new possibilities. But like you said, it's probably gonna be very vanilla. But what would you like? What would you like to see? If any, aside from the obvious, like no injuries. Obviously we don't want that anymore. But
Yeah.
what would you like to see tomorrow? That would be like Jazz sits there and thinks, "Oh, I'm glad I saw that. That's happy to see that."
Well, I think if I had to highlight like one player, I'd say I want to see Don Chaney, and I want to see him stay healthy. Number one, like you said, but I want to see he's obviously been practicing really well and doing really well in the spring. So um, if I had to highlight a player, I'd highlight him. However, I was talking about this earlier. I said for me, the most important thing is it's not even the most important thing. What I want to see out of this is I want to see someone just kind of like, someone just pop out of nowhere and be like, oh my gosh, look at that guy. Look at the spring that he had. Look at the spring game that he had. Someone that maybe we're not expecting, right? And that's the beauty of the spring game. It's the beauty of football. You get excited and then you see some random like Devin Perry did, right? In spring last year,
Mhm.
where all of a sudden we're like, look at this guy, right? But I want to see something like that, like a random running back or a random wide receiver, or defensive end or someone random just kind of step up his game and really ball out in this game and kind of pop out of nowhere. It's kind of like it reminds me a little bit of the spring of the preseason, right? You see preseason, sometimes you got these preseason Hall of Famers that all of a sudden they pop out and they earn the right to play a little bit more. I kind of want to see that to see if anybody kind of pops out like that. Maybe even if it's a preferred walk on or something crazy. But that's what I want to see because it'll make it exciting for me, right? Like to see TVD throw, 6 touchdowns to the guy. That's great. Don't get me wrong. I'd be excited about that. But, at the same time, I want to see who he throws it to. Is it some random wide receiver that pops out like Deontay Johnson did in the spring game last year, right? Like that guy. Yeah, something crazy like that. That's what I'm looking for. I just want to have fun. I want everybody to be healthy, and I want the fans to enjoy what they're going out there to see because I think we deserve it as well.
Yeah, if I had to pick a specific player, Jakari Brown. We know what we're gonna get with TVD. We're gonna get a solid, consistent quarterback, assuming he stays healthy.
Yep.
We're good there. But if Jakari continues the spring he's having and he puts on a show tomorrow with his arm, want to see him
Right.
run too. But if he does it with his arm, he slings that rock across the field and he's completing passes. That'll be great to see. But overall, I I just want to see passion. I want to see energy. You know, you can tell the difference. It's hard to describe it, but it's just body language when guys come out flat, as opposed to guys, you know, come out throwing haymakers at each other. Guys
Yep.
the pads are popping. I really just want to see that. But yeah. Anyway, I know you got to go in the next couple of minutes. Um, but Jazz, thank you for being on. Really appreciate it. Uh, I know you got a lot going on with like 5 Reasons, and then of course your show with Blue and all that. Let the people know, I guess, kind of your schedule because again, you're one of the busier content creators on YouTube. So let them know what you got going on during the week.
Man, I'm so excited that we added some new talent to the team because now we've got a basketball only show. We've got we're putting together something for baseball now. They're taking on North Carolina this weekend, starting today. Actually, the game just started, if I'm not mistaken. So
Yep.
so we've got a lot of that going on. We'll pop in and out and do some shows here and there for baseball. We've got a weekly show with Vish and Mel, a hoodie girl, as you guys know her, hoodie girl, and Maddie Ice also doing some basketball stuff, men's and women's basketball. We've got our show Monday nights. I've got Formula One racing on Wednesday nights. I've got once the games start, we'll be doing some live commentary on playback as well, which is really cool. Kind of bring in some different voices there and do some commentary, which is cool. On some mostly away games, but because we brought it, excuse me, because we brought in this new talent, we'll be able to do it for home games as well for anybody who's not going to be at the game. So yeah, a lot of crazy things going on that'll be announced soon too. But um, yeah, we're typically on Mondays at 8:30 with the Sixers Canes, and then every now and again basketball and baseball as well. So it's kind of crazy. It's fun though.
Nice. All right, man. Appreciate you. I
Yeah,
will.
thank you.
I'll connect with you tomorrow at the game. All right.
Yeah, yeah. Text me, hit me up.
All right, man.
All right, buddy.
All right. That was our boy Jazz Santana. He just laid out his schedule for the week. Like I said, very busy dude, but he always puts out good content. But let's see. Is Antoine Jackson still with us? I'm sorry. I meant to get to this question while Jazz was still there and it slipped my mind. I apologize. But Antoine, I'm not 100% sure. I think he still is, but we'll see. I don't know what's gonna happen, what's gonna unfold there if he's eventually gonna leave University of Miami or stick around. I would love it if he stuck around because that's another very talented DB, and we need to throw numbers at that position. We need more DBs. Is Zion a candidate to transfer? I mean, anybody's a candidate to transfer, really. Technically, anybody can transfer whenever they want. But Zion, I mean, that's an interesting one. Zion has he was slated to be the starting left tackle last year, and a lot of people predicted him as a possible first round pick, possible All American, All ACC kind of player. And he only played like one game. But, yeah, I guess I could see that happening, but he's been battling injuries. They said he's still got a ways to go, but hopefully we'll be ready by fall camp. I mean, that would be huge for the offensive line if he's available, because you got him, and then you got the 4 new guys you brought in: Matt Lee, Javion Cohen, Pancake, and Francis. And then you got Inez Cooper, who's 350 something pounds, 6'6", and played great as a freshman last year. And you got McCoy possibly coming back from his injury. You got some numbers at the O-line. If you could bring Zion in to add to that, all of a sudden that's going to be the strength of the team. Let's see. Kids need to stop so-called punishing schools over what fans post on Twitter. Agreed. But fans also have to kind of ease up with the kids on Twitter, because they are kids at the end of the day. I thought he was going to ECU. And yeah, again, I got to read up on the latest with him, because I'm not 100% sure. That has gone back and forth so much. So I'm not sure. I got to be honest with you. Yes. Thank you, Terry. Grown-ups need to not post garbage too. Agreed. Mario said Antoine was still here. Thank you, Michael. Yeah, as far as I know, he's still here. Is he intending on staying? That's the question. So we'll see what happens there. All right, guys. Well, thanks for coming on. This is a quicker show, but I wanted to get one in before the spring game. Let me know once I go off air and I post this. Let me know in the comments what you guys expect to see in the spring game, what you want to see, what you want to not see any more of. And again, if you are at the game and you want to catch us there, I'll be tailgating with Flo and probably Jazz and some of the crew. So come by and say what's up. It's not a huge stadium, so it's probably not going to be that hard to find us in the parking lots. So anyways, I'll catch you guys tomorrow. Stay safe. Go Canes.